got into the water and everything, where it started, you really, like I said, that forced him to have to slow down and start to see all these and do the extra glazing, because what happens is a lot of times when we, and I always hesitant letting students add white into their watercolors, because sometimes they go too crazy with it. Well, on that part, like I said, that's why, like I said, if you don't take a class with me, you still sit there and you just take a break, put it up for a moment, and then you sit back and say, okay, well, when Scott told me this level and everything, it really brought those in very well. So that was in January, and I didn't finish until December, because it was just one I needed to step away from more often to go and work on something else and go from those areas right there. So, but commended work, Jim. This is very good and everything. Very well done. We have Harvey's right here, his self-portrait that he did. For those of you that are transferring or doing scholarship competitions and things like this is something that they'll like to see in there. So if you do some sort of self-portrait, they like on those. Now I will teach you the best way. If they ask you, is this from a photograph or a mirror, say both. So you got this set up in there, and you work from both because you from these images, because you can go and look at your, like if your eyelashes are a certain way, that you can go from there. This will really help out. Now on this part right in here, where I have to say this is probably one of your most successful pieces that you had, was the fact that you finally had a moment of self-growth. You finally sat down, not only as a student, not only as an artist, but also as a person, and been trying to soul search what you're going to do. What do you want to do? What kind of stuff do you want to do? And with those parts right in there, that came out in your painting. Being able to search in there. That's, like I said, Rembrandt, as you know, did over 75 self-portraits of himself throughout his life. So with this part right here, he showed himself as the cocky young artist who thought he could do no wrong and everything, but as things happened throughout his life, and as he got older, he started looking more into himself. Michelangelo, when he was asked to paint the Sistine Chapel, he signed it, Michelangelo, sculptor. He was so offended that they wanted him to paint. He felt that he was a sculptor, shouldn't paint, but in his older age, he did a self-portrait of himself in oils as well, to look inside of himself and think of himself as a person. And really, on this part right here, this is what you've done. This was not just a student, all right, my assignment is to do a self-portrait, I'm going to render that out. You actually went in and you looked at yourself as you did that.
I really felt like I spent a lot of time looking in the mirror, and I strayed away from the picture, and I really tried to put like me there.
Mm-hmm. And that comes through. And on this part too, with this part right here, what you can also remember is you can have loose abstraction, but still be photorealistic. He tightened up the face, and in this part right here too, many people, when they work on their hair, leave it a solid mass when it's a black or something. But if you look, he's got some very light tones, burnt numbers, a little bit of sepia picking up, and then he came in with the indigos, and it looked like, did you add a little violet? A couple of those, those all pop in there, and they all come alight. So the hair has more three-dimensionality, has more light, so that every part is just as important in there. And then picking those up within the eyes just as well. But again too, by not, like so when you're working on portraits, don't do the ones where someone is smiling or definite facial unless there's a part that you want in there. Because on this right here, this looks like someone studying themselves in a mirror. And it's just like Mona Lisa's smile. That it moves it to a new level, because why is she smiling? Is she, like I said, and that's where the whole mystery, because everyone, that Leonardo da Vinci was such an enigma as a personality, they threw that into the Mona Lisa, trying to figure out a little bit about him. Where this beautiful portrait of this woman, one of the greatest paintings of all time, people question, okay, because she's smiling, is this Leonardo da Vinci hiding his homosexuality? Is this him dressed in drag? Is this one of his students that he loves dressed in drag? Or is this his ideal woman that he just made out of his mind, that if he said, if I was to get married, this would be the type that I wanted? Or was he having an affair with the woman that was supposedly the commission piece for? Those type of things. Or the part where, with her hands over her belly like this and the hand slightly tilted, was this the part of the woman being pregnant? And they hadn't told anyone yet, and that's why the picture was. So all these things were asked, but because he didn't tell us, because of that half smile, none of us are wrong. We all have our own opinion of it and what we actually see. So that's what makes a mystery about it. So without us knowing the exact story, so it moves it to a new level. And that's the one right there. That even if, like I said, like if you were a person, you walked in and saw this in a gallery, you might sit there and say, well, why would I buy a picture of a person I don't know? But then all of a sudden you can relate to this, and you see this and go, you know for a fact every single one of us at some point of our life looked into a mirror and questioned, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing in life? What's going on here? Is this right? What's my next movement? Questioning things going on, and that's what we have in here. So then, even though that's not a portrait of us, we can relate to that. We've been in his shoes before, and that moves it to a whole new level of, instead of just being a photo rendering of his self-portrait, now it moves on to where all people can relate when you work with that. And again, you don't have to just do that with a portrait. With all of your images right in here, you have all, like I said, again, this is by far one of the best summer watercolor classes I've ever had. The attention to details and the paintings themselves, not only with your personalities, but with the artwork that you created. Every one of these had, I have to say, showed your own personality in each one of them. Whether it was Seth's attention to cars and his love to those, Kaylee's source of using music to escape life sometimes, or on the parts of looking into the flowers, the love of nature, the love of details, bringing those in to be able to and enjoy those, and again, showing people how to see things they take for granted. So again, excellent job, everyone. This is one of the best quality classes I have ever had.
Woohoo!
Outstanding job. So we've got an artwork, what's that? Oh, we talked about Taz.